Roll on two.
Check two.
Check two.
Hello, and welcome to Depth Perception. We discuss movies and dive into how films direct the way we experience them. We create a perception of sound, a perception of sight, with a dimension of mind. We move into a land of both shadow and substance, of themes and ideas. I am Mr. Vozly, and today we have a classic case of Kmax talks Baymax.
I love it. Glad to be here.
3.9 is brought to you by 2014's Big Hero 6. Big Hero 6 is about a boy named Hiro Hamada that forms a special bond with a group of other gifted people, including an inflatable robot, after a personal tragedy. This is the movie portion of our discussion on the word belonging. Kmax, why don't you hit me with a bell? We're going to talk about our initial reactions and favorite scenes. We're going to talk about grief and isolation. And, of course, we've got to talk about belonging. We're going to talk about the use of color and technology. Similarities and differences between Hiro and Callaghan. And we'll give a brief what we think the theme is for us.
Okay. All right. I'm ready to go with that.
Okay. All right. So, initial reactions, favorite scenes.
First thing I want to say is to our good friend Tiffer. She'll never see this coming. But this was my first time watching Big Hero 6.
That would have been the slap she gave you.
I know.
If she were here.
I know. It's funny. I want to be clear that I've never lied to her. I never said that I did. In her enthusiasm among our trips, her enthusiasm for Baymax, I shared it. It was genuine. But if you know me, I can really, really, really share exciting things based on someone else's excitement over something. And I think that was passable. But I believe if she thought that I never watched it, I think she probably would give me a smack or a kick. Just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But no, this was. And I honestly, I do not know why that is. It always looked appealing. But I think like the idea of like the anti-hero, I'm so shallow. That's your hero? And I think that might have been it. Gosh, I feel awful. Just the way it comes out, the way it sounds in the headphones right now, it doesn't sound great. But I'm like, okay, this big overweight, inflated guy is your hero? You know, and maybe that's it. But maybe it's just happenstance. Everybody I've talked to about this loves the movie. And I'm no different because since that first watch, there have been 2 other watches, and the first watch was, what, a week ago? So this week...
Three times
a
week, then.
Once, twice, 3 times.
A lady.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I just feel like it checks all the boxes as a movie. Gave me the feels. There was something, is it visceral? There was something sensory about the movie that was different too. I don't know what it is. So maybe we'll talk about it technology-wise.
Must not have anything to do with belonging.
There's some things that didn't belong there, I guess. No. Yeah, there were some things that felt a little bit like the Spider-Verse, like the animation that was different.
Oh, okay.
That felt new and exciting. So
like
there
the
was
aesthetic of it.
Yeah, okay. That way that it looked. But boy, there's so much depth of character, and there's so many scenes that were payoff scenes, early and late.
Yes.
I mean, that's my vibe. That's my feel of it.
Now, you mentioned that before we started recording, you said it might be in your top 10.
Oh, yeah. I think it jumps into like 7 or 8.
Wow.
Again, and the nice thing is with the talking points, there's 2 or 3 boxes that it checked that were, like a yummy payoff. Mm-hmm. And there were some of the yummiest payoffs for the feels, like a one that like hit me like Coco, that found me crying.
Ooh.
Watching it by myself in my room.
I'm very interested in here.
Yeah, and just like I love when humanity shines its brightest.
Mm-hmm.
I love when you see people do good because they want to edify or be there for someone else for no other reason. They just want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I love seeing it in film. And can we mention the scenes right now? Can we mention specific scenes, or
yeah.
But like the Baymax knows. I love the fact that he's a vehicle that knows what needs to heal and knows how to heal best. Like almost like a diagnostic. He runs a diagnostic and says, "Here is what you need."
Yeah.
And I think it's a beautiful metaphor throughout. And the best one was when, again, spoiler alert, you've had 10, 20 years to watch it, was when he knows that Hiro needs to see his brother. He needs to see him. He needs to see this genesis of how Baymax came to be.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to see. And so he plays him on his tummy. He plays that scene. And I'm just bawling because, I knock on wood, I haven't lost a brother. But, you lose friends or nephew or you lose folks. And you feel that in a way that is quite visceral. You feel that in this movie. You feel it in that scene. You feel that loss. Like you feel that panicky, that almost I can't catch my breath.
Yeah.
And on a couple occasions, that was definitely one of them when he plays that and you see his brother. And what a cool character to create, this big, successful brother who works for big tech, has this group of successful friends, and his love for his little brother. Like, you're going to go fight these and you're going to bet on these robots? Of course I'm going with you. I'm like, and they know they're going to get in trouble with their attractive aunt, and they know it's against the law, and so he knows the cost of it, and yet he just, of course I'm going to go with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see that. I would have expected that brother to be used as a tool to say, well, of course you're going to do that. You're selfish.
Right. Or like, here's the right way, do what I do.
And then like just be, oh, you're such a disappointment. You get to see how much he loved his brother. And that's what built the payoffs for me. That's what built the payoffs for me. Is how much they showed how much he loved and was going to be there for his little brother. And they showed the depths of how much he cared. And then that loss was just a gut punch. And it sounds so morbid that's what I loved most about the movie. Those scenes where it's animation, right? He runs into the building. And it took my breath away when I saw that building explode. And I was like, mouth open, like, that didn't just happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that just happened. And I guess those are the scenes that hit me the hardest, that I enjoyed the most, for crying out loud, were these scenes of loss and this real feeling of that made me feel the loss of these characters as good as any movie has. And that, for those reasons and those scenes specifically, there's other cool things about it, but for those scenes and those reasons, man, I was excited to pop it into my top 10 and say, yeah, this is definitely up there.
So I don't actually remember when I saw this for the first time, but I'm quite sure it wasn't in theaters, and I'm quite sure I wasn't like, oh, that's my favorite movie, right off the bat.
Yeah.
It took some getting used to, I feel like, for me, and I'm not really sure why either, because it seems like right up my alley, and I'm a nurse, and you got a nursing robot.
That's right.
But I feel like it's gotten better for me with each watch, and especially this time around where I'm trying to form, the itinerary for what we talk about, and it's not like I watched this anytime recently when I picked this for belonging, but I knew the loose theming of it, and I knew when we talk about belonging, and there's a possibility that our friend Tiffy was going to be, I wanted to pick a movie that she knew very well, and to echo that sense of belonging. She'd be here; it'd be the three of us. We'd talk it over, and but actually diving into it this time around has been. I write notes and make sure I have my thoughts close in my mind, but I kept typing and typing and typing and typing, for this thing. So I mean, it's got a lot more meaning, as we've gone through it this time around. It deals with some pretty heavy things in a light way. Which I think is kind of a hallmark for. Your classic Disney movies where, Bambi, the death of the mother, spoiler alert. but
thanks a lot, man.
But then it deals with how Bambi, moves forward after that. And so I feel like that's why this movie feels, the way it does, is because it plays into that a little bit more again, where it's not just everything sunshine and rainbows. It's no, here's some real tragedy. Here's how these characters get through it, and you see real growth and you see healing throughout the movie. And like I said, older animated movies present that a little bit more often than newer ones, I feel like.
Yeah, before we leave the scene, I know you haven't done your scenes yet. I want to mention one more if I could.
Yeah,
the one with the idea of the chosen family, right? This is family that Hiro decides. All right, these are and they're reaching out to him again, and they're like, "Hey," on the video message or whatever, and he just can't accept it. And I know we'll talk more about that.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, but he just can't accept it. And in my head, I'm like, you pull for a character. The third time that I watched it, I was pulling for him to respond. I'm like, come on, man, just pick it up. Mm-hmm. This is the medicine you need. Come on, man. And I'm like, I mean, man, you're just sitting here. I almost want to well up because there's such a beautiful exchange of being there. And what a great group of friends they were. And even not just with the follow through of let's go to battle with him.
Right.
That's secondary to me. Deciding that I want to be there for this person, that's to me the beauty, is making the decision that I'm going to be there for this person.
I'm going to stop you there because we do dive into that group and that scene right there.
It's such a cool exchange.
The scene I'll bring up then is scenes, I don't know. I connected with the you mentioned the beginning with Tadashi. So I connected with that guidance and the understanding that Tadashi had for Hiro. So I loved when he convinced Hiro that he would take him to another bot fight, unexpected, that he'd be like, okay, well, I can't stop you. I might as well make sure that you're safe, and I'll go with you. Mm-hmm. I'll support you. Mm-hmm. But he tricks him, though. The way that he supports him is saying, let's divert that energy, that focus into something positive and constructive. Here are the possibilities. Use it for innovation. Use it for a positive influence, and use your gifts. Don't just waste your gifts. Mm-hmm. Here, where there's potential.
That's really awesome.
So I really appreciated seeing a character do that.
Yeah.
Because so often, probably in a lot of the examples we have this season so far, you get characters that are like, you're yelling at the screen, don't do that, don't bot fight. And it's just turning into telling you what to do, what not to do. And here's Tadashi that has this way of gently showing and it's almost like an intervention, but showing him and guiding him rather than, this is how it goes. You're doing wrong, And
I mean, the whole film had that vibe to it, a different kind of help, a different kind of intervention. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of John Mulvaney's last And he's like, if I didn't know better, I'd say there's an intervention happening here. And he goes, and it was for me.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah, I loved that that he brought him to the school, exposed him to a whole new level, a whole new outlet to channel his focus, and continue to process, wink, wink, grief that was already there, I think.
Oh,
so
man.
not just Tadashi's death. I think before that, you know, we talk about seeing people trying to fill voids, see people try to grieve and use different things to try and help that process along. Because we walk into this movie, the first thing we experience is Hiro bot fighting, which already I think that's him trying to fill some sort of void.
Yeah.
And just like some of the horror movies that we watch, some of them for the podcast, some of them just in general, you know, once the filmmaker establishes a loved character, wham, they die a horrible death to shake our emotional stability.
Gosh, and didn't it do it?
Also, Drunk Baymax was pretty funny.
Remind me of Drunk E.T. a little bit.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I will reference E.T. again.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, I guess I like, knowing me, I like to enjoy things and have a little fun at something that is very vanilla, very benign. So you know me with the idea of drunkenness. It kind of scares me, right? Again, I'm not some prude. Trust me, I enjoy a beverage, right? Like the idea scares me, but like when I see it in like fiction in a non-harmful way, usually not even with a human being, for some reason I'm like I can enjoy and actually laugh at it.
Right.
But normally, if I see it, I'm almost like yikes. You know what I mean? So E.T. and Baymax, it makes me I guess that those are two examples of, yeah, that's exactly true.
Yeah.
It's a palette that I don't mind watching that art on.
Right. All right, let's move on to our next subject.
Alrighty.
So, back into the depths, Kmax.
Oh, dear.
Grief and isolation.
Okay.
So, Kmax, what I'm going to do is kind of frame these ideas for Big Hero 6.
Okay.
In the context of our discussions.
Sounds good.
And then I'm going to let you fill in those frames with more heart and substance.
I'll try.
And please question anything that you're unsure of or whatever. But I'll frame it and then I'll have you kind of digest it a little bit and spit up what you get.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me, like a baby bird. Come here, baby bird.
So I'll start with grief.
All right.
I hinted at it earlier, but when we see Hiro, I believe that he is already in a grieving process. His parents are gone, and he's being cared for by Aunt Cass and I guess his brother.
Sorry, that's too much.
His energy and grieving process has taken him to bot fighting. He is distracted from what is important, his remaining family, and his future. He barely bats an eye when he's returned home by the police and seems to pay little gratitude to Aunt Cass for providing him a home and everything that she's done for him to this point. Kind of just being a stable force for him during all of this. I already see some resemblance to Mia. I'm going to reference these movies, I think, through the entire season, but Mia in Talk to Me. So not absorbing the right resources around you. And in Hiro's case, that is until Tadashi opens Hiro's eyes to the potential and excitement of a future in innovation. And just when you think Hiro is about to get back to even and really thrive as himself when accepting an offer to join the school, bam, Tadashi is killed and Hiro goes to -1. Little Godzilla -1 reference for you. I finally found a way to incorporate that. Now, similar to Danny in Midsummer, we've got a protagonist that was already trying to grieve something, get thrown another tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And then back to the similarity to Mia and Talk to Me, Hiro latches onto a link to the past, a sort of memento of his lost one that guides him on a path to process grief. Only in Big Hero 6, that spirit is uncorrupted and true to the essence of his lost loved one. And Talk to Me, the spirit that Mia is led by is false.
Yeah.
And full of malice. And I use the term guide because in both cases, that being gives our protagonist purpose and sets them on a journey. So in Big Hero 6, Baymax is following, if I follow this, will that improve your health or whatever, however he phrases it? And then he lets the nanobot take him wherever. And then in Talk to Me, they convince Mia, like, oh, you need to go end his suffering.
Yeah.
So they both send our protagonist on, they give him purpose, give him a goal to reach, right? So before I go into isolation, I want to hear your thoughts, where you saw grief, how you saw grief, and how does it relate to our discussion so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious one that the filmmakers wanted to focus on our hero's grief over the loss of Tadashi, right? I think that's the big one, I guess. You want us to focus on that. But then you also see, is it Callaghan? You see his grief later, right? And it's not unjustified. He's got a lot of grief. And I think that's the big comparisons of grief that you see. You also see, like, I think I agree with you saying that Hiro, he had something going on. He was rebelling out. It might be, I was thinking too, he could just be being a teenager too. But he seemed like he was working some things out too.
Right. They made a point in their conversation with each other, Tadashi and Hiro, that mom and dad are gone.
Yeah.
So it was definitely in there for a purpose, I feel like.
I felt like also there was, I'm trying to think of the emotional heartbeat of why, why Hiro didn't feel like he wanted, because he's crazy, he's wicked smart, like his brother, right? And like the aunt sees it too about both of them and their big brains, you know what I mean? And there's a measure of grief. I'm trying to find another spot that I saw it among. I can't put my finger on it. I didn't write it down, and I'm trying to think of. There was a feeling of grief that kind of like permeated the group, like the collective group. Maybe it's just the loss of Tadashi to the group, to the team, because they were like a family. And that's what I wanted to talk on. Jeepers Creepers. Half hour later, this is how my brain works. The idea of the chosen family, like so they had their nuclear family, like him and his brother and the auntie, but then like it's almost like his little brother became his little brother and his chosen family then, and watching their grief, that boy, they loved Hiro before he became one of them, but you could tell they loved him through Tadashi, and that's such a testament to that character, that they respected this young guy and they knew of his talent and they loved him like family before he was part of their chosen family. Now that he's there and Tadashi's gone, you see that them reaching out to him like, you're one of us. And also the grief that, I mean, almost got choked up. The grief, how you bond with people who loved your loved one that's not here. When we had the Ralph tribute, if I was able to feel and process things that I haven't felt and processed in a decade, watching one of his best friends go through it. And I felt that way with these friends, this big brain group of friends. He was their token of what was left of the thing that Baymax was for Hiro. this token of remembering, like especially the memory chip of his brother. I feel like Hiro was that to this group. Like they seen him as that. Like this is our connection to our best friend, our team member, our chosen family. And I love that term because, we have friends like that are sometimes closer than a blood family, and you get to pick them. So I felt that grief. I felt that grief as much as I felt Hiro's grief in this. Mm-hmm. That collective. And here's the thing about love and grief. There's evidence of that love and that commitment to their friend. You can see it. It's palpable. You can measure it. They join the quest to find, the killer. They join the quest. But you think about why they join the quest. They're trying to take care of Hiro. They're trying to take care of his mental health. They're on his healing journey with him. That's the main thing. They want him to grieve properly. They don't want him to be alone.
Right.
They certainly want to catch and find out what's going on with Tadashi, how it all happened. But I think that's secondary to taking care of this kid, their little brother, their adopted little brother now, I guess.
And I think in the context of our discussion so far, you had, we talked about characters not being able to recognize the resources they do have. And I think I'll talk about a little bit about this later too. But even from the start, you had Aunt Cass, you had a home, you had your brother, and he's trying to escape, and he's trying to go to bot fighting, and he's, even when he gets brought back home, it's, well, I gotta go back out, there's another fight, and instead of keeping the company that he does have. And then you see it again, that same group of students or whatever they're, prodigies, I don't know how to describe them, trying to reach out to him, sending him messages, and him, neglecting the help that they're offering just by reaching out like that. Yeah.
It felt like depression and anxiety when he was going through that grief. Because the filmmakers did a great job of this, talking about some heavy themes. It captured that essence pretty good, where he's just like, yeah, I'm not mad I'm sad. Mm-hmm. I'm fine. Just leave me alone. And that's fine too, to some extent, when you're grieving. But like, he's just like bathing in it, and he sees these ropes, these lifelines thrown to him. But if I can be honest, sometimes I don't know if you have the focus or energy when you're in that depth to reach. And
I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's fine. That's fine.
I'll go over that too.
Well, what a brilliant film to be able to put that in.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna move into isolation here. We see Hiro choosing. I'm gonna put a bookmark there. Mm-hmm. But choosing, I'm using my air quotes, right?
Yeah.
To be alone right from the beginning. Again, the bot fighting. Sure, he's technically not alone, right? He's in an underground fighting ring surrounded by people. But emotionally, no one knows him, and he's strayed away from the people that do know him and love him. And even when he is caught by police and returned home, he immediately has no regard for the care his family has for him and attempts to leave them again. So you fast forward to Tadashi's death. During the funeral, you see Hiro leave the guests. He goes upstairs and closes himself off from everyone in his room. Mm. And in the past, we've discussed the symbolic setting of a home for the human psyche. I think it was M. I think we pointed it out. But you see in other movies, the attic or upstairs, the bedroom, representing our minds and our most intimate selves. So if you use that same metaphor, Hiro escapes into his own thoughts and feelings when he leaves the guests downstairs. Mm. This continues when he stays in his room, doesn't eat, doesn't return messages, and just sits in his room alone. Alone until he beckons Baymax with the word ouch.
Oh, yeah.
Just like E.T.
Oh, my gosh.
Ow. Ouch. And just like E.T., it's a being that arrives in his life at the time of loss and pain as if its only purpose in that moment in our story was to heal our main character before leaving the earth.
That's right.
You know, he's there to show him love and wonder and hope and support. Kmax. Last episode, we revisited isolation. We noted a difference between isolation and solitude.
That's right.
We also noted a difference between choosing to be alone and being forced to be alone, and how integral that was to whether it was a positive or negative for us.
Absolutely.
I want to hear how this lens fits Hiro's situation. Do you see it more as isolation in the way that we discussed it, or is it solitude? A choice in his grieving process, maybe, or involuntary reaction to something so hurtful it has crumbled his mind?
I like the way you said it. I feel like I have to take a politician's type approach to this, because I feel like there's, again, knowing that everything's on a continuum, right? If I can say something that sounds remotely smart, borrowed from someone who's not remotely smart but incredibly smart, knowing that everything's on a continuum, choosing, even in grief, even in sorrow, to go and isolate yourself a little bit can be a perfectly healthy decision. To say, this is overwhelming right now, I got to go collect my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
That can be important. That can be powerful. That can be edifying. Most of the time I go to pray alone on purpose so that it can be just focused. My mind and my heart and undivided attention, you know. So, yes, I think there's some chosen isolation before Tadashi's death. There's some chosen, but again, he's probably working through something there, and maybe some of that becomes, what's the word I'm looking for? Abnormal. Some of it becomes a little bit
Abby-normal.
Yeah. Excuse me, Abigail normal. Some of it goes a little far when it starts taking him to darker places. It starts becoming something that is almost not chosen, involuntary. Because just like anything that pulls you down a path, he gets pulled into something that illegal things. And if you're doing illegal things that you probably shouldn't be doing, I don't know how much choice you have in the matter then. Mm-hmm. It's like an addict. It's like an addict's personality then. It's like, do we lay it at their feet and say, you had a choice in all of this? Or do we say, at some point it became involuntary. This isolation was no longer solitude. It's now got you. You're being forced to isolate now. Mm-hmm. This addiction has you, or this circumstance has you. Then we see after Tadashi dies, he just, even more of an example where he is choosing, but it almost looks like to me it looks like a function of his body's trying to, maybe his mind or his consciousness trying to stop the hurt or mitigate the hurt. So just I can't engage it. I can't be around the people that were close, that we had this shared experience with my brother. Mm-hmm. I can't be around. I got to be around aunt. I got to be around my aunt because she's my primary caregiver. She's the landlord. Mm-hmm. I got to be around here. But this group of people that was so intimately close with his brother, he just clicked out the messages, just ignored them. And we get the idea that maybe they've sent multiple messages. Because like us again, hey, us again type of thing. And by the way, shout out to the one like burnout type buddy who's kind of like goofy,
The mascot guy.
Yeah, the mascot guy. And was he the guy from like Office Christmas Party?
I didn't see that one, but I think it's T.J. Miller, right?
Is it the guy that's from
Deadpool?
Deadpool. Okay, yeah, that is the guy.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, man, this guy's perfect voice for this.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's like wealthy and successful, you find out that.
Well, I'll dabble into that later too.
Cool. Yeah, but voluntary, involuntary. I feel like with anything like that, I feel like it might cross over into the abnormal when it hits that continuum of, is it pulling you away from healthy relationships? Is it pulling you away from, are you tumbling toward disorder and dis-ease, or are you making steps toward wellness and healing?
I think, you could say the early parts of it seem voluntary, but it's kind of like, well, if you make this choice, your next choice is only this.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you make that choice, your next choice is only that. Mm-hmm. So it becomes less and less voluntary and more consequential.
Consequential is the word I was kind of searching for a bit. Like almost like the grief has caused this. This is now.
So I'm gonna put in my thoughts here because you're right in my wheelhouse. Right,
I'm dancing around your neighborhood. And
so these how we defined and discussed isolation versus solitude in the last couple episodes. When you try to view it, when you try to use that lens for this situation, it challenged my thought as to, my original thought was that it's unnatural to seek isolation. But we see Hiro show on multiple occasions a reaction to leave the warmth of his family and friends. Mm-hmm. So that goes against, if it were a natural thing to seek, or I'm sorry, if it was unnatural to seek isolation, he wouldn't have left the people that gave him the warm and cozy feelings, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. So I do think, we've kind of touched on it already, but I do think that this can still be seen as isolation happening to him. His pain seems to cloud his perception a little bit. And I think this is evident when he confronts Callaghan with the heroes. And he finds out with Callaghan, basically, right?
Yeah.
That it's not that he's responsible for Tadashi's death, but he was a major factor mm-hmm. in Tadashi passing away. And he suddenly attempts to seek vengeance mm-hmm. on Callaghan, right? And what appears to be a conscious decision to shut people out may not be as voluntary as it seems, not when you're in that much pain. Mm. So his chance at getting vengeance on the person that caused him that pain and finding a focal point for that vengeance.
Well, I was going to say, that's what grief does to you, though, too. It's mm-hmm. like, I got to label something.
So when you wear that mask, hint.
Yeah, right.
When you wear that mask, I don't think you can view it as involuntary, or I'm sorry, you can't view that as a voluntary, conscious decision to isolate, because it's you're hurting so much that's just how you see things mm-hmm. at that time.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
So you use the analogy of drug addicts, where they can't see anything else because their mind is so clouded and filled with the influence of mm-hmm. of whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. And so I still think my original thoughts still apply, where it's when you have the choice to be more alone, that's seeking solitude, and that's more of a positive thing. Mm-hmm. And isolation is no choice, and it's something that you have to overcome. Mm-hmm. So that was my original stance, and I think it still applies, though, because the people that are in this much pain and this much influence from trauma, they can't think clearly, and they can't have a clear perception of, well, I need to choose the people that support me. They don't even have that. A lot of them don't have that clear thinking. Right. So the things that are influencing them the most, the hate, the anger, those are going to be the driving forces of their decision making. And if you're off tilt that much, I can't fully agree with that being a voluntary decision. You look at just when you're kids, if someone smacks you, what's the first thing you do? I got to smack them back.
Yeah, I got to get them.
Instead of, well, why did they smack me? Let me assess the situation here.
Yeah,
that's not your first instinct.
Right.
But because your mindset is, in such a way that if something happens to you, something traumatic, like in Big Hero 6, you don't have your wits about you to actually make those voluntary decisions the way that you would, like if you're getting burned out from work. Okay, I need to step back. I need some time to myself. I'll get back to it after the weekend, but I need to just chill out at home. Like, that's a conscious decision. That's recognizing that you do need the space. But like we said, I don't think it's as voluntary as it looks. The situation we see in Big Hero 6.
Interesting.
Makes
sense.
That's my thoughts, though.
Sure.
Any challenges or reactions to that?
No, I can't disagree with the logic. It's hard, I guess, to quantify it, because in my head, it almost goes all the way to like some philosophical ideas of addiction, even in grief, like how much ownership and how much is causal and how much of it is. And I hate the way society is now. It's like, oh, you're just looking for an excuse.
I should clarify, even though I would say it's not as voluntary as it looks, wrong is still wrong in this case. If you're bot fighting and doing something illegal, it's not an excuse that you still did what you did.
It almost goes back to M though again, right? That's some of the discussions we had when we were talking about M, is when he was a little like mentally unstable, and then we had the people that were involved in organized crime were like, there was a morality to it, oddly, right? So interesting how these conversations can kind of overlap each other and be revisited. Yeah, it's funny. I definitely see how. I'm not an abnormal psychology major, but I remember in classes we did we looked at some case studies of how, what is a normal way of coping, and what does normal mean when you're tired. And I learned a ton about it. And I remember thinking, yeah, right. A lot of times, and a lot of it, like how powerful addiction and grief can be in isolation, and how addictive, like the idea of being vindictive, how much power that has, and like a crime of passion. How do you even get that vocabulary? How do you get terms like that? Well, is someone thinking right when they do this, when they do this heinous crime? How could someone do that? It's almost sociopathic. Then you start talking about the whole range of people getting off on not, they get off of something because they're, reason of insanity. Well, that doesn't happen as much as in the movies, right? But you can have clinicians that would sit there saying they were downright compelled to do this addiction. They were compelled to do this. And so, like with I've seen grief compel folks to do some really, really wild things. I've seen it compel me to do some things that would be outside of my ordinary decision making, my ordinary judgment. So yeah, that's a tricky one. I agree with you.
I will say it's going to be woven through the rest of the season. We're not done talking about isolation, which is kind of funny that it's a main focus on a season that's centered around the importance of human interaction. So we'll see where it leads us.
I love it.
Well, we'll go into our the chapter that this movie actually belongs in. You want to give me a bell there?
Oh yeah, here we go.
Belonging.
I almost said it again because I'm like, that wasn't good enough.
What movie is that from? That's not good enough. Oh, that's Orlando Bloom in Pirates.
Pirates.
So, belonging. We get to see Hiro's new support system in the movie. It consists of the characters from the school. You can see just how influential this group is and just how needed it was for Hiro. His new social circle is an absolute good.
Mm-hmm.
Even when Hiro uncovers Callaghan as a reason Tadashi didn't survive, this group absolutely refuses to be used for vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Baymax even becomes suddenly incapable of following Callaghan when Hiro gets this mindset. Oh, my system's offline, or whatever he said, you know. A very on-the-nose comparison here, but you could see the wealth that having a friend group this involved gives Hiro, both emotionally and actually, when a member of the group just happens to be from a super rich home.
Yeah.
How convenient, you know? I speak a lot about resources and allowing emotional resources to support you, and I'm going to mention it here again. Resources for Hiro when he relies on his friends. Resources to build, to improve, to strengthen one another. This is all very on the nose. Mm-hmm. I'm talking emotionally here, but you can see it physically in the movie, right? Mm-hmm. He's physically building and improving and, you know, healing. And everything here, it seems to match our discussion on grief, isolation, and belonging. It's strengthening each other on an emotional level. I'm going to reference my quote again from last episode. Do you remember which one I'm talking about? I think I quoted it a few times.
Never eat shredded wheat. That's not right, then.
That's how you get home. So I said, you feel valued. This is in reference to belonging, what it means, right? Mm-hmm. You feel valued, you don't feel judged, and you feel like you can contribute to a shared happiness. You can apologize if you've done something wrong. You can celebrate together when you succeed. You strive to improve yourself for the group. You lift up and get lifted by. You're each other's safety net. Mm. So, Kmax, we talked last episode about how a sense of belonging seems to fix a lot of conflict. And this is reflected in movies. Where and how did you see belonging in this movie, and what kind of issues did it seem to resolve?
Well, I mean, I think the big one, obviously, is it was Hiro with the group of Tadashi's friends. You know, his cohort, I guess you could say, his partners. I guess cohort's a good word. Educational cohort does his group. When they accept him, when he gets accepted into the program, he builds this.
Again, very on the nose. Yeah. It's a very on the nose, like metaphorical
right.
movie.
He gets accepted into the program, right? And the role that belonging plays to connection and community, he instantly gains community, and he instantly gains a support network with them that he's never had before. He's even got like almost like a father figure in Callaghan at first, like this. Yeah, that's his name, right? Yeah, Tommy Callaghan. But like he has this support network, like a father figure who is proud of him, like almost like that thing that all kids, all sons want to hear is their father figure say, "I'm proud of you, and you're accepted, and you're good enough, and I believe in you." You know what I mean?
Right, and it was like challenged. It was like you got potential. Like let's see what you got.
Yeah,
we don't take it easy here. We need you to work. You know?
And again, sympathy for the devil time again, because Callaghan, I think, is essentially a good person, a smart person who is the head of this academy for good. It seems like he's this big catalyst for good. I don't know when the timetable is on all of this. I don't know if I just missed it or if it was supposed to be nebulous on purpose. Like, what's the timetable for him losing his daughter to this?
Yeah, that's something I still think about.
Yeah,
and it does become a little bit of a distraction for me, because if it was, it couldn't have been during the presentation,
right?
The nanobots or whatever, because that's when the explosion happened. So that issue with his daughter couldn't have been then,
right?
But if it were after that, I don't know what the timetable is there either. So yeah, that for me that is a distraction. Later on, I do have an explanation, or at least thought that relates to that. So.
Good. I'm glad. But you see belonging ominously with even like when Baymax hugs him, when he comes out and just, that's the first thing, the first healing, that when he senses that the loss there and he doesn't know what to do. You see Baymax being awkward. It's me when I give a hug. He's kind of like dancing around the situation, like, and then he just like leans over and his big squeezy structure is perfect for the hugs. And he extends and he pulls the hero in and hugs him. Like, I got to get him from this place and he's got to get here. But it begins with me. This is the best I can do right now. Gives him a hug. And,
well, I think, you see the characters, they know that he's hurt, and they still reach out. They still strive to be there for him. And when we talk about belonging, it's not having to prove yourself. It's to they're there for you, and you want to be your best because of that.
I like the movie, the idea of it, the lesson that the movie teaches, that you have this young, streets hardened kid who's going a certain way, and he's gonna fill that need up somehow.
That was one thing I wanted you to reference again, because you made the point last episode that when belonging, I asked you what happens when belonging isn't there, right? When it's absent, what happens?
Yeah.
And you said one may try to fill that void with anything that resembles that feeling. And right off the bat, you see an example of this in the bot fighting. So, so if you want to,
well, then even if you go back a couple episodes to Talk to Me, that poor young lady tried to fill that with just supernatural yuck,
right?
But with Hiro specifically, you see him in the bot fighting. You see, and then, we talked a little bit, I think maybe off production or maybe post production or maybe even on the pod, about like in real world connection to what young people fill it with drug, sex, rock and roll. No, drug, sex, like alcohol. And then I thought about like gang violence. Like it's not just a Latino or African American thing. That you go down to like Gallup, New Mexico, or Window Rock, Arizona. The gang violence is Native kids. Those are the strong, terrifying, cartel-driven gangs. Are Native American kids, and it's a terrifying thing. And a lot of times, these people come from broken homes or abuse situations, and they are cut off from any chance at a normal social circle, whether it's school, whether it's a group of friends or a youth group, and they need that belonging, and they find it. And these people are like predatory. All right, fine. Here, we got it for you. You want that sense of belonging? Here you go. You like that? Now you're part of us.
You know what it makes me think of is the first live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the Foot.
Yeah,
the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
Because there's even a scene, Casey Jones points it out. He's like, you call this here and that down there family? And and this whole clan is filled with young men that don't feel that sense of belonging. You got Danny, the news reporter's son, or whatever the guy is, that doesn't feel connection with his father, and he's turning to other things to fill that void. Well, how do I feel belonging? And he turns to the Foot Clan. And,
I think about how many movies that have that.
And that's just one movie. That's one situation. But it takes someone pointing out, like, this isn't family. Like look at everything around you. You call that family. And that, of course, they reconcile at the end. Like, oh, I do love you. Like, and they have this moment at the end of that movie where.
Well, you think filmmakers grab hold of it because it's such a powerful thing. That sense of belonging, how much people need it and how much they strive for it, and what they'll do for it. I mean, this might be a little out of place, but you hear the term, and again, being a father of daughters, and being a father of sons, some of these terms hit home and you guard against them, right? You guard against them, you fight, and you hear the terms and you're like, yeah, you hear like, you know, this person or whatever, they got daddy issues or whatever, you know, and you see like sexual predators that are like going after people that, this girl's got daddy issues or whatever. Like, well, where does that idea come from? The sense of belonging, the sense of safety, the sense of my father's there for me. It's a place of refuge. It's a place of warmth. It's a place of community. It's a support network. Mm-hmm. My father provides this for me. You know what I mean? And you think of the opposite side of that, like the converse of that, or the inverse of that is, I got to go find this with some strange man, this sugar daddy type thing. You know what I mean? I'm going to let this smooth person be my father influence, and they're going to provide for me. I'm trying to fill that void that's not there with this clown, right? So that sense of belonging, you're trying to fill it with something. And doggone it, man, it's a powerful thing. So, it doesn't excuse the gang violence. It doesn't excuse prostitution, any of that. It doesn't excuse any of that. But I think you can be moved with a little more compassion when you realize how powerful that is, that draw. Mm.
So what kind of issues do you think were fixed in Big Hero 6? I guess identifying what they were and then seeing how belonging addressed them.
Yeah, I mean, he went away from first of all, in the first heat, I guess you would say, he went away from the bot fighting. So he went away from a life of crime there. It was lucrative. He was using his big smarts to beat all of it. He would have made some money there. Mm-hmm. So you look at like the movie with guy that plays Wolverine. The robot fighting there,
Huge jacked man.
Yeah, that's him. You look at that movie where it's like, was it Real Steel or something? I don't know what it's called.
That's it.
That movie there was great. I thought it was pretty cool. It was like, you're pulling for a hero who is doing this illegal, you're pulling from there. But like you see, in this movie, you see he's released from that. Belonging gets him released from that. He's part of the school now. He's accepted. Mm-hmm. Now then, you see him, his vengeance, his bloodlust and vengeance, it gets quelled by realizing my brother would not want me to do this. And you guys showed me that because your love for me, they demonstrated it. Love is an action. It's a verb. They're demonstrating this love for Hiro the way that Tadashi would have loved him. And it's like they're little agents of, no, you're one of us and we're going to be okay. We're going to quench this feeling together. We're going to heal together. Our collective grief and love for Tadashi. Come get in a boat with us and we'll heal together. Instead of, some movies, yeah, let's get them. They're all in their superhero gear. They're all capable of doing some damage. He doesn't have his nanobots. You know what I mean? He's vulnerable now. They can probably go get him if they decided to, and they instead of just letting that vengeance, that what we watch movies for a lot. Let's get the bad guy. They kind of turn him saying, let's apprehend him. Let's find him. They end up, and honestly do. They're like, okay, we're in. Let's go find him.
Well, I think what is interesting is, they're superheroes, but they're not actually looking for justice. They're not looking for vengeance. They're there to support Hiro, and like that's it. They're not there to make a difference in society or capture bad guys. Mm-hmm. It's we're here for Hiro, and right now, Hiro needs to find some answers.
They're like agents for Baymax. The Baymax's primary objective to heal, and now they're becoming. Yep, we are that too. It's almost like that's why I saw it like. They're the Justice League, but the head is actually Baymax and his ideology that we are going to heal. Mm-hmm. So you are our primary customer of the primary objective. You are broken. We are going to bring you back into the fold. And now whatever it is that draws him, you can almost hear each of those people saying, "Is this going to heal you? Or will you feel better? Then this is what we're going to do." And what a nice feeling. I think Coco-like feelings for me.
I think one of the other issues is it gave Hiro purpose, right? The sense of belonging on multiple occasions when he felt like he belonged to that school. It gave him, oh, well, forget bot fighting.
Yeah.
I'm going here. I'm going to, like, I need to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Like that strive to belong.
That was cool to see, too.
Right? And then you see it again when he's depressed in his room and Baymax comes alive or whatever. Mm-hmm. It becomes, fine, go find me, go find out where it leads. And it turns into another sense of purpose. Well, instead of just wallowing away in your room, maybe find out what happened, why it happened. You know, what, is there something more that's going on with your brother's death? You know, and so I think that's one of the issues that sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Fixed, quote.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the next
All right.
topic. Color and technology.
Oh, my.
So, we'll talk color first.
Yeah.
Kmax, what does the color white consist of? No jokes either.
I never signed on to that. Privilege. No, I'm sorry. Of course, I'm a blockhead. I'm going to ring a bell to take that away. All right, we're back. And we're back. That's not true. Anybody that knows me. Anyway, whatever. So, like, what does it consist of?
Yeah. So, like, just the color white.
Yeah.
So, it's light. It's all colors.
Yeah.
Right? So that's simple.
It's funny to me, and like my first thing is like void of color instead of all colors.
I know it seems contradictory.
Yeah.
Right, but black would be the absence of light.
Yeah,
and the absence of color because there is no light.
Holy smokes! Mind blown.
So if I said something is full of life, would you agree that colors and brightness would be associated with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Nice bouquet of flowers.
And thus the opposite would be true, right? So black is associated with lack of life and exuberance.
Yep.
Okay. So that's color association 101. And you look at Hiro, and everything good is full of color, right? The team of 6, I see just about every color on the rainbow when they're together.
Yeah, they couldn't be more colorful and adorable.
Red, violet, green, blue, orange, pink. Some of the movie's promotional material, like I've seen posters where there's different parts of the poster, and each one is a different color for each character, right?
Brilliant.
Baymax, he's white, right? So that would mean that includes all the colors, and it's light, right? But I see another color association with Baymax. So white is often neutral, a balance, calmness, as inoffensive as you can have in a color. Because everything else has some sort of connotation. But you look at your notepad, it's just blank page. It's the color white because you're even. You're a blank slate, right?
Tabula rasa. For your Latin
Was it
scholars. Blank slate. Clean slate.
Okay.
Or a ton of sexual positions. I can't. It's one of the two.
Why not all? But it's all the colors put together to become a unit of stability, right? You may see brightness in the same way. Generally, again, association, brightness is often paired with warmth, happiness, hope, right? You may notice that when Hiro is alone in his room after Tadashi dies, when he's not eating, he's ignoring the messages and closing the shade to keep the darkness of the room intact.
It kind of looks like it reverts back to how it was when he was bot fighting. The muted grays and the things like that, to me.
Yeah. He then drops a nanobot on his foot. He says, ouch, and the once dark room seems to illuminate with the sunlight. And it's amplified by the fabric of Baymax's body. So he almost becomes the lighting force in this dark room. And there's a specific shot, too, where there's like a room divider, and he's almost like glowing behind it. So it's like this force of light illuminating this dark area of Hiro's. Again, if you go by the home metaphor, it's the bright spot in his dark mindset at that point.
I see.
Right?
That's awesome.
The color black and darkness are used inversely from white and colors and light. If all these pillars of color are units of support for one another, then black is the opposite. There is no color. There is no other support. So, with Hiro, he had all these different colors, everyone coming together as support, a strong support system for him. With black and Callaghan, that means there is no color. There's only one that's black, as lonely by itself, right?
I think that's so ironically awesome. But just with all the nanobots, they were all black. And he had like unlimited amount of them, it seemed. And they were all at his whim,
Yeah. So,
none of it was supporting him or helping him move forward.
Right. Callaghan only has the single pillar of support, himself.
Yeah.
And the nanobots are controlled by his own mind, which is a fitting attribute for the nanobots. There is no one else to balance him out. It's just his own thoughts, and the nanobots have no other influence on him. They just follow that mindset, that pain, that vengeance. They have no other, right?
Yeah.
And his lair in the warehouse, dark, lifeless. And Callaghan, like his nanobots, are covered in black, or they're the color black. And Callaghan appears to be almost consumed fully by this blackness, as if the only human part of him was swallowed by the emotional darkness it represents. So the only part that's left is this little circle of his face, right? And even that is covered by a mask. And we kind of talked about the mask kind of becoming your lens for how you view things.
Right? Super interesting.
So how does all this talk of color hit you?
Perfectly. When I get over the idea that, like, again, my first, I guess my ignorance with the color white, right? And then seeing, it is, like you said, it's theory. What is it? Like you say color theory, like a graphic artist type school.
Right.
Those things are real. Advertising is real. These things are considerations that are tried and true, and how they influence an audience. And all I got out of it, when I looked at this kind of discussion question, I thought, the only observations I have are that, I can see easily that when he's in a darker place, they put him in a lot of muted grays, and even the color, there's color involved, but they're all like that really the term I use is muted. You don't see the color pop. You can tell it's blue or red, or you can tell the different colors, but it's almost like there's like an iPhone setting for it. I don't know what it is, where it mutes the colors kind of. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to articulate because I don't have the vocabulary for it. But like, when, even in the scenes, even in like the montage scenes, they're brighter. When it shows the heroes, I think it's a cool one when it shows their superhero montage where they're all getting their powers stronger and honing their powers, and when they all come together, almost like a Voltron type or Thundercats type montage. Each one has their little part of the screen. It's popping tons of color, And
I made sure I used the word support too carefully, because when you see Callaghan move with the nanobots, he's kind of like riding the wave of them. Like they're literally his support system as he carries out whatever thing he's doing. And when the heroes battle him at the end, their goal is, well, let's get to the mask. Get the mask, the nanobots will fall or whatever. And if you take that from a metaphor standpoint, you can't change someone's mindset that easily. That mask being how he views his situation and what he must do. He must get vengeance. I must get what was the name of the company, or the guy that owns the company? I forget.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
but, trying to get after him, and put him through what he thought Abigail went through. So again, metaphorically, you can't just change someone's mindset.
Yeah.
But if you get rid of the things that are fueling that mindset, the nanobots, that's where the power, that's the fuel, that's the
Jeepers.
where that energy comes from.
Yeah.
So they they destroy the nanobots and get rid of that tainted support system that Callaghan has. Then you can start to reach him on a human level.
I'm so curious if there's been any kind of even fan fiction sequels. So I want to see the connection because his daughter's back. You know what I mean? And I'm pulling for a grief like that, though. It probably make you do some wild things, right? You know, if he felt that, and he's a pretty intelligent guy, you could see him losing it a little bit.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't until he lost the mask that he saw the other side of it.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe
That's
she's
right.
Around.
Absolutely, that's right.
They see that she's still alive.
Yeah. So like he was past the just total blind, seeing red.
Right.
That term, I don't know where it comes from. Sounds racist to me.
Well, I had that thought where I'm like, I'm going to point out the colors black and white, and it's going to sound.
Oh, sure, sure.
We had the same issue when we talked about Night of the Hunter.
That's right.
No, just the actual colors, like on a color wheel.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about technology next then.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on color before I move on?
Let's see. No, just I said bright colors were attached to the brothers' crew, his adopted family. You know what I mean? Just tons of color.
So technology, I've already touched on some of the use of technology here. Baymax associated with light and color and life. Mm-hmm. He thinks, he communicates, he's...
There's a lot of things.
He offers feedback and is able to recognize... He's able to recognize Hiro's emotional state and the needs that he has. Nanobots are lifeless, have no will of their own. They do as their owner commands and follow his thoughts only. Already we have strong symbolism for the technology here. And just like how Callaghan, the bots follow his will. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, you had Hiro draw a little smiley face and a little frown face on the bot, and that's his life. That's so just like Callaghan, using the bots for his will, and it's okay. Well, we're angry. We're gonna do this. Mm-hmm. That's how the nanobot, the fighting bot that he used in the beginning, it's like, oh, now it's time to be angry, and that's all we do.
Yeah.
We just follow commands because we're angry. We got our angry face on. The nanobot in the beginning that Hiro uses for bot fighting, I think it also offers a look at the duality of Hiro at this point. So I said the smiley face on one side and the face of rage on the other. However, the actions of his bot are either an inanimate effing object. So I had to throw that another In Bruges reference there.
Oh, Tin Man would love that.
Or it's a machine of destruction, no capacity for care or support. Tadashi, on the other hand, is someone that deeply cares for Hiro and creates a robot whose sole purpose is to heal and help people. So we have someone that is grieving and emotionally compromised using bots for violence, and we have a family member that is trying to support his brother as best he can, build a robot that mirrors that very mindset. Tadashi has found his tribe, as you would say, right?
Love that. Yeah,
he and it was actually separate from his family. It seemed like, it looked like he had different members of his tribe on different sides, it seemed like to me, if you want to use that analogy.
I love that.
And that makes him stable enough to be that support for Hiro. And even when Tadashi dies, his spirit or whatever lives on in the disc that frames Baymax's personality. Mm-hmm. So it becomes the healing aspect in the memory of a lost loved one.
Pretty beautiful.
When Hiro is shown the university, I guess it's a university, right?
Yeah, I think
Whatever
so.
it is. He seems to break out of his shell a little and become motivated again. We've said this a few times already. But this speaks to my quote from the beginning, or it speaks to my quote from the belonging episode that I recited earlier again. He received his acceptance letter, again, on the nose.
Yeah.
Here's your acceptance.
You are now accepted.
But he received that letter after presenting his nanobots. And to him, that acceptance was worth more than money could ever buy, right? Because the other guy offered him, I think he said it verbatim, this is more money than, however he phrased it. Money, though. Money was the thing that he was using as a reward for bot fighting in the beginning. So now you can see that he's moved past that mindset, right? Mm-hmm. There's a moment when Hiro is flying on Baymax. After they create their new gear, they go through that montage that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. They're on top of the, is it still called the Golden Gate Bridge?
I know, it's funny. I love the whole idea of San Fran, Tokyo.
But they're on top of there, and Baymax says something like, "Oh, your neuro something is better." Or I can't remember what he says, but he says that means the treatment's working. So it's like this whole brotherhood and social circle and new set of friends that he gets. It's all being used to improve his health, right? It's
funny how Baymax keeps checking in on him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, even to the point of that last thing, you're like, what does he have to give the command? That everything's okay or something?
Oh, I am satisfied with my care?
With my care. Yeah, that's, as a nurse, you've got to crack up every time you heard that, right?
I don't need that. I know what I did for you.
I know what I did for you. Listen. Nothing left to do but blow me a kiss and say thank you. That's awesome.
So again, though, right on the button with how effective and beneficial it is for Hiro to have people around him and to have that interaction with others. I feel like I've thrown a lot at you, Kmax.
Yeah, you have, but it's fine. I just, the very, very basics of like the technology and things in there, and innovations in technology. I just think Baymax himself, the character, I guess I was pleased to notice that it's not just a unlikely superhero story, because that's what I thought going in, and that's probably what prevented me from watching it. If I knew it was such a story of this, the transactions taking place of this, not the soul, I mean it, transactions of the soul, of the, like a battle for the, not the soul, almost like, but the battle for the sanity of this young man. That's, the movie is essentially that. It's a tug of war to keep, to end the spiral for someone who could easily spiral. It's a close to home plot, because I think everybody at some point is in that spot where it doesn't have to be grief, it doesn't have to be anger or vengeance, but you get consumed by something. And to have a film with the heart to create a character who, at first, when you're introduced to him, he just helps you heal from having a cut with the spray, the lotion or whatever, and psh, 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 psh. Oh, it does feel better. Are you satisfied with the quality of your care? And then he goes and he gets, right? But to create a vehicle like that, I just think it's brilliant filmmaking and writing to create a character who is all about healing, and then to create a palette, to create a world or a landscape where these characters are all in need of healing with this horrible traumatic event. And then to watch this robot go to work playing the long game with this young man. Everything, like you said, everything he does, from awkwardly walking to, will this help you this? Okay. Will this help you feel better? Will this stabilize your blood pressure? Things like that. Then yes, I'm going to do it. And it's just been it was such a cool vehicle, unlikely vehicle to watch. And that's technology. I mean, this technology doesn't exist, but I think it's so cool to see the main vehicle of this show, this film, being something that is kind of out of someone's imagination. Imagine if you could Look at all the things that they were making there, the cool, groundbreaking things. And his brother Tadashi, I probably have his name wrong every time. His passion and what would you do with this kind of big smarts was to create something that would just help and heal. How beautiful is that, man? I'd make something that made me money or good looking or something, or good at sports, or cool, remotely cool. And there he is. His whole passion was to help, and that he still had that chip was so beautiful. It's just everything, doggone everything. Like every bit as good as Coco in my mind.
Well, we're not done yet.
Good.
Well, we got another ding headed my way.
Well, you sure do. And how about a bell? Also,
no K.
Well, that was horrible. Maybe that's a metaphor.
Let's compare and contrast Hiro and Callaghan.
Yeah.
Let's go with how they're similar first.
Okay. They're.
Let me shout.
I got one
don't
line.
Shout, but say one and then I'll go. And
Yeah, I mean they're both driven by loss. They're both driven to the dark by loss.
There you go.
When I say dark, I don't mean a dark side, just to the dark by loss. That's one.
I'm gonna say one that it feels like you mentioned Coco, and I'm gonna say one that, and maybe probably real life too. Reacting without, I think I said it earlier in the podcast too, but reacting without knowing all of the details. So reacting without properly seeing everything.
That's cool. That's cool.
Right.
Like acting on not incomplete intelligence.
Right.
That's cool. All right, another similarity. They're both wicked smart. I mean, that's a very big similarity. Like
they're both innovators, you know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to expand why I said Coco, because you had Imelda that was, well, Hector's out of our lives now. I never want to speak to him again, and he's dead to me. And what she didn't know is that, well, he was poisoned, and that's why he was on his way back.
Yeah.
And if you had known that, you see what happens when you have all the details, and you can make a sound decision and treat everything with a little bit more grace.
Wow, it restored their complete joy, generations of joy, removing at least 3 generations of just living in trauma and bathing in it, letting it drive them.
And so I think you see that with both Hiro and Callaghan, where they started to do something without really knowing what else was involved there, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's anything that's heavy or even discussion worthy, I'm done. I'm out, because I would get to now point the fact that they're both males. So, if you want to go some more, would you please? Going then. Please do. Save me from myself, my friend.
Similar to what I just went over, though, but the initial tragedy is off screen, which kind of goes with you don't really know all the details again, right? So with Hiro, he says, or the conversation he has with Tadashi, their parents are gone. So we don't see that, though. And we just jump in and Hiro is bot fighting. And so the same thing happens with Callaghan, is we just know that he's a villain trying to destroy something and cause chaos. What we don't know is that his daughter was, in his eyes, was killed or sent somewhere to some infinite beyond somewhere, right? So that tragedy, though, is off screen, and we are just seeing someone in the throes of grief, right? We have nothing else to base our opinions of these people, our reactions to them, but how they're acting right now.
That's right.
So when we see Hiro, it's kind of like, who's this kid? He doesn't reciprocate the care that Aunt Cass has for him. He doesn't appreciate how much his brother's looking out for him. Who is this kid? And then you see our villain. Like, who's this guy? Like, it has no regard for the public. He's wrecking everything. He's got some sort of evil plan, it seems like. And we realize that he's in very deep pain and trying to get vengeance against someone that caused him that deep pain.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate how, again, when a film lays it out for me so nicely. Like, when you see a villain, I've said this before, when you see a villain, sometimes you got to wait to find out their backstory a bit. Their psyche, what wounded them, how they were scarred. And I like how Hiro discovers partially what might be the root of Callaghan's grief or rage or his spiral into madness. I like that how he sees that happening, and it matters to him.
Well, yeah, he does. He gets more of the details, and it's less about getting revenge and all that, and it's more about, okay, this guy is acting this way because he's in pain and he's lashing out. And even though we can't convince him of anything right now, we still need to calm that down.
Man, right from the clinician right there. We can't treat this until we get the swelling down. And then some medical stuff too.
They both, their initial use of technology is to vent anger and violence. So we had the bot fighting again, and we have the use of the nanobots by Callaghan. So it's this perversion of innovation and technology and intelligence to be used for something so emotionally reactive, I guess.
Yeah.
It's something that we all have, and it's something that doesn't exactly require intelligence for. So like acting out of hate, I gotta get him back. I gotta get vengeance. I gotta get revenge. I'm lashing out. I just need an outlet for this anger, and I'm gonna bot fight. They're like things that don't require intelligence, like violence, and you're using this highly innovative thing to accomplish that.
Yeah, I love the fact that if I'm gonna take another second to just kind of, I like to make connections to other films. So like, that's what makes Tony Stark's character so complex too and interesting. That, how he builds his fortune and how he uses his intellect. It's like, they're building weapons. You know what I mean? They're building these forces of destruction, and people cite him on that all the time. It's like, no, this is the original purpose. You know how many wars these prevent and things like that. Anyway.
So speaking like Tony Stark, it's another similarity between these two is the mindset of the person utilizing the resource. So Hiro tries to use Baymax for vengeance at one point, and Callaghan uses the nanobots for his own vengeance. But they could be used for good. So Baymax used to heal people. The nanobots, when they were presented during that
science fair or
whatever it is, Hiro was outlining how they could be used. Construction done in a day, and all the other examples he gave during his presentation. So it's both these characters being able to showcase how that creative energy could either be used for good or bad.
Yeah.
There's these characters lashing out, and you can see it becomes evident what's fueling their mindsets, because both of them utter very similar lines. In the beginning, well, I guess more towards the beginning, Hiro makes the comment, and I forgot who he said it to, but he said, "Tadashi's gone." Like he kind of lashed out, right? And you had it at the end. Callaghan says, "Abigail's gone." So both of them, fueled by this grief of losing that loved one. But you can see the difference with this character, Hiro, with the support system he has, being able to be a little bit more centered, get more input from other people, be supported, and how that affects how he treats that situation compared to Callaghan, who doesn't have anybody, or at least anybody that we see, and how he treats that same grief, that same level of loss. And, referencing again the apparent decision to shut everyone out and act in isolation is not so voluntary, as each of them demonstrate that their vision, their lens is clouded by grief. So I kind of gave one already, but how they're different then. Do you have anything for
I
how
think
they're
I have
different?
one.
Okay.
I think I have one that is, it's not quite my theme, but it leans that way. How they're different. Hiro chooses friendship and healing, right? While Callaghan chooses just vengeance.
I think it's interesting how you phrase that too, because to me, it's not so much choosing as that he's allowed to heal because he has the new support system, whereas Callaghan doesn't have the support system. So he had, again, you talk about making one decision and then that dictating where your path is, and becomes less voluntary because of that.
Yeah.
And you have Callaghan there that all he has is this hatred for this man that caused him this great big trauma, and now that leads him to do this, which leads him to do that, and now he all of a sudden he's down this dangerous road.
And the main difference is that he doesn't have the support network that Hiro has.
Exactly.
Be a better friend, people. Come on. Jeepers.
But it's acting on that reactionary feeling, right? When you experience a loss or something that hurts, you want to do something about that. And Hiro's support system is able to kind of keep him in check and balance him, and
that's right.
Kind of say, we're here for you. We are together in this. We also hurt. Like, you're not alone. And Callaghan doesn't have that.
This is Depth Perception Movie Podcast, a.k.a. Humanity 101. There's a lot of things, honestly, that are discussed. I don't think we set out to, have the most, not heavy and meaningful, but we wanted to be meaningful conversations, but like the lessons, the things that that I learn, I'll use an I statement, that I learn and I'm challenged with from these silly conversations about movies and films and things like that, are huge. They have possibly huge ramifications, positive and negative. Use our powers for good, right? Like how big a role even I play, that even you play, and the listeners play in helping people feel supported. It's no small thing, man. I mean, it's such a big difference that a word of kindness, an act of kindness, a hug can give someone an opportunity to see beyond the blur, the red. I just see red. I can't even see a way out of this. To see the idea of a tomorrow that might not look the way today looks. That's real stuff. It's not just mumbo jumbo. It's not throwaway lines. It's that's the real challenge. I mean, we put some time into this, and we get nice feedback, and we get wonderful feedback, and I don't know how long these things will stay digitally, or how long they keep or take, or how long they'll be for public consumption. But man, if people hear some of these things and just garner even a tiny bit of hope from some couple knuckleheads having an honest conversation about a movie that was interesting to us, with some neat themes and some neat things that it talks about, neat topics, man, that if people choose to hear in the ways that we're hoping they do, maybe it makes us a little bit better. I think that's pretty cool. It has the potential to.
I think, the last bit I have then for the differences between these two characters is their emotional home base. Hiro is regaining his sense of belonging. Baymax teaches empathy and focus on healing rather than acting out. And again, because Callaghan doesn't have that same feedback from loved ones, from supporters, from whoever he belongs with, all he does is lash out, right? And there doesn't seem to be any healing. All right.
Wow. Before you make the jump to light speed,
Okay.
let's let me consider other films that feel similar about a leader who's off the rails a little bit and consumed by their vengeance or their seeing red. Almost all of them. Like they find orcs or faceless soldiers by the tens of thousands or a zombie horde. They find these heartless allies to move their agenda of vengeance forward. And I'm just thinking of, I think of like Sauron and Saruman and the Lord of the Rings type stories, or the Star Wars where they have all these faceless like stormtroopers, like, or legions of, when the new, what are they called? The New Order? The First Order. My bad. Yeah, Hart's going to kill me on that one. The first, he's like, oh boy. It's like me saying in Star Trek, aren't they called Klingons? No. Like, you see them saying they stand out on the little pedestal, and you see this huge hordes of them, the faceless. And it's on purpose, right? They're not human people with hearts. And I just feel like that all the time. You want to create a good villain, show me someone who turns to not toward humanity, but turns toward almost anything else to join their cause. And their symphony of destruction.
Well, just like Callaghan, millions of nanobots, right, that don't have their own consciousness.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, that's his legion. Those are his allies. That's his support network. These heartless, mindless.
Yeah. Let's all support everything that I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no chance of them curbing his mind or healing his mind. They're just tools. It's like orcs.
Well, let's move into our last talking point for the episode. And we'll just give a quick thing. We've talked quite a bit, so I think we should have a pretty well-formed theme. Do you have one that you want to share?
Yeah, I think. I don't know how spot on for me. I don't know how useful or anyway. I'm going to stop qualifying it. Here's my theme. I have a bad habit of doing that. True healing comes from connection and finding meaning again. That's what I think.
That's
my thing. Like true healing comes from connection and finding meaning again. Like, yeah, there it is.
Okay. I had. It's funny. We're getting pretty similar with how we're.
Lord help you.
I said healing by allowing your loved ones to support you.
Allowing them to.
Mm-hmm. You had so many instances of Hiro shutting them out, and his social circle, his new friends, barging down the door like, "Oh, we're gonna help you." I'm gonna send you another message. I'm gonna come find you, and because he was alone on the dock, right?
Yeah.
When they drove up and they tracked him down, they found him like. Basically, like, we are going to help you heal.
So freaking adorable, all of them. I love those characters. I love them then, and when I think about them, I get a smile on my face. When I think about them, how much they love that kid. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I tell the story all the time, and why not put it on digital wax here about when I was wrestling with anxiety to a point of some really vulnerable times. Good friend Ed Schiffert just came to the house, and at first the most he could do was barely get in the door because I'm like, tell him I'm sleeping. Tell him. He'd come in. I know he's not sleeping. He'd come in, bring me a coffee, just sit down there and just listen, not even talk too much. All right, I'm gonna head out. I'll see you later. then like the next week, and this happened, I was like a couple months, really dark. And then he's like, let's go hang outside. Let's go look outside. Make a stupid excuse of, let's go for a while. Let's go for a bike ride. Didn't want to do any of them. Then I remember the one day he's like, let's go get something to eat. And I would not go to a restaurant. This is me. So you know it was pretty dark. And so like, I remember looking at my dad. My dad's like, well, just go. You know, it's so hard to even envision me in that place because I love all these things. I love getting out. I love friends. I didn't want any of it.
Well, I mean, you relate it to what we just talked about. It's not someone could look at that situation and say, oh, he chose to sit in his room and, you know, be in a pit of sorrow the whole day.
Yeah.
But with that mindset, I mean, you can't choose how to feel when you're in something like that.
No, I wanted to. If it was that easy, I would have, you know, and sat through like months of like therapy to kind of see that. Oddly enough, months of therapy to just kind of to see that. You know, it's funny because the wonderful clinician I worked with was very good at saying the reason why you got well and got on the right track so fast because you wanted to so bad. You wanted to get well so bad. You wanted to get for your kids and for your family. You wanted to put the work in. You did the things we were supposed to do. You found, you know, meaning, you found focus. And I'm like, man, that's why like episodes like this and movies like this hit so close to home, seeing that support. I see this jackass in Ed Sheffert. And again, he's no hero. Ask him. Look at him, you know. Honestly, like yourself in some ways, and Tin Man in some ways, and a million friends and colleagues and family that carry me in ways that they're never aware of, but are like huge, almost on a daily basis, and probably never feel like, that carried some weight, or I did some good today. And, you know, staying with the Eddie story for a bit, one day loaded my golf clubs in my car, loaded his golf clubs in there, said we were just going to go get a cup of coffee. I don't know why I picked the clothes I did, but I had a polo shirt on and a pair of shorts, and he had all my golf stuff, and I remember going to Hyde Park. And my good friend John had flew up too to join us. Had flown up, and the three of us were going to play golf. Now I'd never say no to that. Well, lately how bad I played, I probably would. But like, I was like, I don't think I can do this, guys. There's Eddie. Nonsense. Put your shoes on. All right, just ride in the cart with us then. Come on, get over it. Just ride in the cart with us. I rode in the car with him. Then didn't play because I'm stubborn. Got to that par 3 near the road that I love hitting at. I never hit the green, but I always think I'm going to this time. I'll hit this one. And I'm like, yeah, that's the spirit. And I remember that was a big step. I praise the Lord for it because I don't know where I'd be if I didn't take that step and the next step and the next step. But I remember going out there and hitting one, and I hit it over the water at least. I didn't hit it on the green, but I hit it, and then I said, I guess I'll putt with you guys. I can putt from here. I don't have to chip from here. Because everything was so negative still. Played that hole and then played the rest of the 9 there at Hyde Park. And they're like, let's go get something. Because we used to play all the time, and you know how we play and go get something to eat or something to drink. Let's go to Michael's. I'm like, nah, I can't do that. And John's like, I'm going to Michael's. And he's like, well, I'm your ride, so we're going to Michael's. You can sit in the car if you want, and we'll bring you some food. Well, we'll just get takeout and we'll sit in the car. Each step of the way, kind of almost to a point like the group there, we're not going to quit on you. You matter too much for us. We're not going to leave you there. Again, none of them are psychologists. None of them are clinicians. None of these people. They're just people who care and demonstrated their care to a point where I wanted to smack them. But man, they pulled me out of a really dark place. And I see people do that all the time. I've seen Tin do that for Ralph a lot. I've seen you do that for Ralph a lot. I've seen you guys do that for each other. I won't name anybody else outside of that, but I've seen us rally for folks outside of that. And I've seen folks rally for us outside of that. And I see colleagues rally for each other. I see strangers rally for each other. It still happens. And it means so much. And I've seen people fall through the cracks who have been lost. And I see their families hurting for generations because they have a loved one that was lost because they fell through the cracks, kind of. Mm. And they live with that kind of a guilt, whether it's warranted or not. So I try to treat everybody. I hope that anybody listening hears this says, yeah, he does. I try to treat everybody, student, colleague, friends, family, foe, with that same carefulness, that same mindfulness to say, I might be the only hope this poor clown has right now. And it matters so much. We're in the holiday season, we're in Christmas season, man, and if you can't help your fellow man, and whatever Johnny Mathis said, whatever Lou Rawls said, then what are we doing?
Yeah. I picked a movie where we're getting deep into the holiday season, but I picked a movie that wasn't exactly a Christmas. Well, it wasn't at all a Christmas movie, but the essence.
A lot more than Die Hard, though.
But the essence of belonging. To me, it's getting more and more true that belonging is the most comforting thing we can get from a movie watching experience. So I still think it's fitting that this time of year we watched a movie that deals quite a bit with belonging.
Beautiful.
All right. So that was Big Hero 6. Next episode, do you know what it is? Our chapter episode?
The chapter episode. Ooh. Before we ask this, I just want to say one more time, Tiffy, I'm sorry. Never meant to deceive you. I'm sorry. Baymax is awesome. I now get it. I'll be fighting you for Baymax swag at Disney. No, I don't know the next one.
Laughter.
Laughter?
Yeah, laughter, we say.
About doggone time. Let's go. Now we're going to find us some depressing episodes to watch about laughter. Patch Adams, maybe. That would be a pretty good one. Yeah.
Did you watch Jack growing up?
Yes.
Robin Williams? That was that I could never. It took a lot to watch that. Not because I didn't like it, because it was so emotionally heavy. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll find some reason for us to be sad.
No, you will not. You will not. We're about to laugh. This is about to be good. This is about to be. I have the most masculine laugh.
The Winnie the Pooh laugh?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, Tiffy, this one was for you. Sorry you couldn't make it this one, but hopefully this does you some good.
I love you, pal.